Jakiro and 2 traditional range carries. He's quite lucky, Jakiro is already level 25, so he should have the early game advantage. Up now will be very good here because there are a lot of spellcasters. So up now with Eontis and Refresher will give you a lot of cheap damage to carry you for the early game. Heroes will actually die quite fast to the Nether Ward unless they have a BKB.
Radiant victory.
Wow, there are so many throw wallers in this game. 4 throw wallers in this battle alone.
Dire victory.
So you can see that this game there are not much jumpers actually. There is no slug or any strong melee carries that can actually jump the backline. So it's very important to have strong range DPS. A good combo will be Shadow Demon, Draw Ranger, Shadow Demon with Terror Blade to be good as well for the fear. And then late game for your 7th and 8th hero, you ideally want an Enigma and a Faceless Void to control your enemy. If you are playing backline, you can go for a Snapfire early game with your Refresher Orb. That deals a lot of magic damage. So late game is all about how strong your backline is. Shen will be good as well for the continuous healing that you'll be getting. I don't particularly like Throw as a carry because you can't actually use Assassin Medal on the Throw. As compared to Ursa Warrior, when you're using an Ursa, you can use an Assassin Medal and Ursa can actually target the enemy hero. But when you're using Throw, he loses control of himself when he casts his ulti. So during the duration of his double ultimate, he has no control over who he aims. So it wouldn't be good because he might not necessarily aim the target that you want. And Assassin Medal will not work on him as well, like I mentioned. Enigma is quite important late game because you see there's not much counters to him. There's no Winter Wyvern, so the only true counter to Enigma would be a Faceless Void. Yeah. Oh, and another Titan. It's not very good to pump your Enigma early game or to take him out early because there are so much magic bursts here, including Bloodseeker, Jakiro. By the time your Enigma works in front, he is most probably dead. And I see a lot of common mistakes that people do is that they pump Enigma too early with a Fallen Sky, BKB Refresher, Ungunning. But the thing is that Enigma is just there as a control, and you shouldn't play Enigma as sort of like a team wipe kind of hero. It's just there to provide control for your team to take down your enemies. So do not try to pump Enigma as your first hero. Be more reliable to pump like your Draw Ranger. Faceless Void it's not very good in the 2v2 stage because only your units are able to move in the chrono, and your teammate will not be able to move in the chronosphere. Yeah. But if you are playing frontline, it's fine as an initiation tool. Faceless Void usually is better safe for the 1v1 stage, where you can do an Assassin Medal, BKB Refresher, and actually lock down the opponent's carry. Yeah. Yeah, I think Throw is good. More of like a distraction tank kind of hero instead of like a pure DPS. So you can go for your BKB Dagger, Refresher, Lotus Orb, something like that, just to activate your opponent's AD as early as possible. And then because there are enigmas here, you could do a delay or a teleporter your range carries so that they will start behind here, while your throw warlock in front will jump forward and actually activate all your opponent's BKBs. By the time your range carry reaches forward, you'll be quite safe from all the AoEs from Jakiro and Snapfire, because the spells would have been casted. You are quite safe now, and then your BKBs will have run out. Yeah, as you can see here, the power of our Witch Doctor early game. Although it's only level 20, but the Death Ward is actually doing so much damage. Because when you get Aghanim, it actually does bouncing attack, and it has True Strike. So just want to point out that this is actually a very good positioning for Pagna, because when you place him in the front row, he will actually cast his ward very early, and then doesn't matter what happens to him after that. Even if he dies, it's fine, as long as he lays down the ward. The opponent wouldn't really aim the ward because there's a Throw Warlock here, so the Throw Warlock will actually walk forward, and the aggro would be on Throw Warlock instead of the Pagna's ward. So he's quite safe in this spot, and because he's in this spot, the Pagna's ward will be casted somewhere around here, which means that the range will actually hit most of the enemy targets around here. Yeah. And by placing your partner in front, it's a ranged target, so it forces your opponent's units to actually walk past the river. When they walk past the river, they'll be more in range of the Nether Ward. That's why he's actually placing his Throw Warlock behind instead of in front and the Pagna behind. So this is a very good positioning for Pagnas and a tank.
Victory.
So as you can see, most of the top players here have a Throw Warlock and Pagna combination. The first three, yep. Okay, so you see, Pagna is going to lay his ward around here, and then the Throw will walk forward. Yeah, Throw it's alright here, like I mentioned, as like a distraction, because there is no Doom. When there's Doom, Throw Warlock will not be able to get off the second ultimate. Because what he will do is he will cast his ulti, blink, and then immediately refresh and blink, but he will not cast his ultimate just before his ultimate ends. So he wait until his ultimate ends before he casts a second ulti for maximum effectiveness. Yeah. Which means that if you have a Doom, Throw Warlock will not get off his second ulti. Another thing to note is that it's always better to go front when you're playing Pagna, because Pagna's ward will be placed right in front. If you're playing backline, your ward will be placed quite far back, and it might not affect as many heroes as possible. When you're playing Drow, it's advisable to deactivate your multi-shot late game, because a multi-shot actually reduces your DPS because it doesn't do much damage and you can't lifesteal off it. Yeah, but when you do not have much items, it's fine to leave it on because it still deals a good amount of damage with no items. Yeah. So the best range carries here are most probably Draw Ranger and Templar. Weaver is fine. Weaver, the good thing about Weaver is that he has multi-target, but he's very reliant on your Swarm and Aga Shard. So you're only multi-target when your Swarm latches onto something. and it has quite a long cooldown of 11 seconds, so it's not a very reliable multi-target hero. But the good thing about Weaver is that it's very durable, and you're able to run away from fights and tanks, so it's very hard to jump on Weaver because you just switch it away. Against Troll Warlord has Whirling Nexus and actually has a miss chance of 60%, so you want to get a early MKB against a Troll Warlord. If not, your heroes will not be doing much damage. Templar is pretty good here as well, because there's not much damage over time to actually remove Templar's refraction. Templar's refraction is really quite strong because it blocks 20 instances of damage. So that's actually quite a lot, especially when there's no damage over time. Okay, if you are playing Witch Doctor, one thing to note is that you do not need to have Aghanim Shard all the time. Because when you get an Aghanim Shard, what happens is that Witch Doctor will cast the Voodoo Switcheroo first before the ulti, and when that happens, sometimes your BKB would run out before casting this. Like, you run out when it's casting the ulti, so you see that it's casting the second ulti first. Yeah. Sometimes you just want the fast burst damage, you do not want Witch Doctor to cast this first before the ulti, so you might not want to have the Aghanim Shard. So as you can see here, while still channeling the ulti, his BKB has run out. So there are situations when you leave him vulnerable to stuns. I would also recommend getting an A on this for Witch Doctor, because Death Ward's damage does not come from Witch Doctor itself, it comes from it's considered as a separate unit. So your Death Ward will still do the full damage while your Witch Doctor's Aeondis activates. Yes, correct, that's a very good point. When you have a churn and when it casts his penitence, it increases attack speed of units that attacks the hero, target hero. So when this happens, when the Witch Doctor attacks a hero who has penitence, its attack speed for Death Ward actually increases quite a lot. Yeah, correct. Yes, very high attack speed, especially when you combo a Witch Doctor and a churn. But yeah, you have to make sure that the opponent does not have a BKB. As you can see, most of the frontliners here are Troll Warlords. If the Troll Warlord has a BKB, then it will not really work because Witch Doctor will cast a Death Ward upon meeting the enemy first. So let's say the Troll Warlord has a Blink Dagger and it jumps all the way back here, and your Witch Doctor is here. The Witch Doctor will cast his ultimate here, which is not very ideal. Yeah. But in the ideal scenario, it'll be good if Chen can cast his spell, the Penitence, and Witch Doctor ulti would hit that same target. It will go very fast like a machine gun. So sometimes when you get these kind of items which are not very useful, you should just break it for parts or just sell it off. Because keeping it does not actually give you much value anyway. You break it for Eagle Song and do a butterfly for your Draw Ranger, or do an Apex and roll a Titan Silver later for maximum damage. Agility stack is very good when you have a lot of illusions, because they benefit from the agility as base damage as well as the armor.
Dire victory.
Yeah, so look at this. Do not be afraid to sell off items that you do not need, like these two items. Also, Aeon Disc on Throw Warlord is actually a very situational item. It's only gotten when your Throw Warlord is not able to get off his ulti. Because once you get off your ulti and your Aeon Disc proc, Aeon Disc activates during the duration of your battle trance, you won't be able to do damage, you won't be able to heal from Satanic, and it's kind of a wasted purchase because you're already invincible during the battle trance anyway, so there's not much point in getting Aeon Disc. Unless there's an X in the game, X can actually kill you when you hit a certain threshold, I think it's 1.1k HP, then it probably might make sense to get an Aeon Disc to protect your Throw Warlord, so that you can cast its double ulti. But in all other situations, it's better to just get a DPS item or another defensive item so that you can cast off your second ulti rather than getting it on this. Yeah, as you can see, the front lines of Business Void, Chronosphere stopped the back lines Tiny from actually entering, and Tiny actually got stuck inside. So this is the problem when you're playing Business Void in 2v2s. That's why it's best to keep your Business Void in your stash and only take it out during the 1v1 stage. Another trick that I like to do when there's very heavy backline range carries lineup is that I like to buy a force staff on my tank. So basically, my Throw Warlord, I would hold a force staff so that he could actually has a chance of forcing the opponent's carry forward. Most carries now at this stage does not have BKB, so if there's enough range, the Throw Warlord will actually force the opponent's Draw Ranger or Templar Assassin forward, and then when it's forced forward, they are actually in a very bad position to be bursted down by your own carries. If you are playing Throw Warlord, it's a very good value item to go for Aghanim Shard because it actually grants 25% status resistance when battle trance is on. So that's actually quite a lot. So as you can see, early Enigma does not really do much damage. It's mainly the Tiny here. Bloodstone does not really work very well on Enigma because, like I mentioned, Enigma's job is just to control your enemy. Its damage only comes when you have Aghanim Scepter, and it doesn't really scale very well with Bloodstone. And yeah, it's more of a one-trick pony. You just want Enigma to double ulti, and then what happens to him after that does not matter. So he does not need the survivability from Bloodstone. If you really want to boost his damage, you could go for a Sage and Kaya instead. Status resistance and a flat 14% spell amp, which is better than Bloodstone, because he wouldn't be alive most of the time for the charges, and the active ability is not very useful as well for him. This is a very common mistake that I see, feeding Aghanim Scepter for your heroes way too early. As you can see, Enigma has 5 slots, so you can actually hold Aghanim Scepter. There's no point in feeding Aghanim Scepter to your heroes so early. Also, Aghanim Scepter buff does not really buff Alchemist that much. It's only a 20 damage bonus and 5% spell end, so it's quite negligible. So do not rush to buff all your heroes with Aghanim Scepter with Alchemist. That's a very common mistake. It's not a very cost-effective way of spending your money.
Dire victory.
Okay, I'm actually quite surprised. I still don't see any Refresher or Pagna. Refresher or Pagna is actually quite good early game. It does a lot of damage with very minimal items.
Radiant victory.
Yeah, so as you can see, there are many items here that are not really useful for Witch Doctor, Dagon, Shivas, and now Skadi. So do not hesitate to actually break them for other parts or actually sell them off. Dagon is not actually very useful for Witch Doctor. It's usually better for heroes that have high spell M or high cooldown reduction like Bloodseeker, Dazzle. Eye of Skadi is probably better for range carry. Witch Doctor really needs the AoEs for extra survivability, and Holy Locket, because Holy Locket actually buffs your healing amplification, so you actually heal more your allies. If you really want to play a Faceless Void with a BKB Refresher, I would recommend going for Assassin Medal. Just use Assassin Medal and aim their draw ranger so that you can control their teamfight here. Because if not, like you saw what happened, he actually chronoed twice within 1 second on the Throw Warlord, which is quite it's not very effective.
Radiant victory.
Okay, so for Shadow Demon combos, you can see that there's a combo here with the Shadow Demon and the Templar Assassin. But the issue here is that Templar Assassin deals damage from bonus damage, from pure raw damage, while Illusions do not deal damage based on bonus damage. It actually deals damage based on your base damage. So it would actually be better if you had comboed a Shadow Demon with a Draw Ranger or a Terrorblade instead of a Templar Assassin, because the Illusions will only have 207 damage instead of that 135 extra. Yeah, and it's only 75% effectiveness.
Dire victory.
Okay, so there's another combo here. There's a Hoodwing and a Keeper of the Light. So the thing is that this is a decent combo. The Chakra actually reduces the cooldown of the three spells, the non-ultimate spells. But the thing is that Hoodwing does not have much items here, so there's no point refreshing the lowering the cooldown of Aegon Shot, because he has no damage items, you wouldn't be dealing much damage anyway. So it's better to go for heroes who can do more damage with less items, because Footwing in a sense is a semi-carry, which needs some items to be useful if you are playing it with a trophy.
Dire victory.
Yeah, so Black Crow, I think he would have done better if he had changed this Templar to a Draw Ranger. Draw Ranger with a Shell Demon is way better because the illusions can actually multi-target as well with the Guiding Scepter. While Templar is actually just a single target and you would always be hitting the throw a lot, which is not very good.
May the drowned
Yeah, as you can see, Enigma is not really good building too early because it does not do much damage. Problem here is that everyone has range carries, so if your Enigma does not catch all of them, you would get the down really quickly. And if you go for an Aeon Disc, what this actually means is that your Enigma won't be doing much damage because your Aeon Disc will activate very early. So it's just going to be a black hole as a control to suck them in. But there will be no damage taken by them because your Aeon Disc is activated. And because you have spent 30k to 40k on your Enigma, all your other heroes are very weak because they don't have much items investment in them, since all your money is in Enigma. So this is a very big problem. So even though your spell amplification is 50%, he won't be doing much damage anyway. Yeah, so the mistake here is that he did not deactivate his multi-shot. It's very important. As you can see, this guy here has deactivated his multi-shot. Putting a delay on your Faceless Void, it might sound good if you are playing 1v1, but because now it's still 2v2 stage, so what this means is that if the opponent's Throw Warlord jumps in front, you would actually chrono your ally as well. Let's say his Throw Warlord jumps here, your Faceless Void starts here, and you delete him. So what happens is that your Faceless Void will chrono this area. Your opponent's backline heroes will come forward and will get stuck in the chrono as well. And the opponent's Draw Ranger and Templar will actually hit your units for free. So you're actually disabling your own ally by doing this. So luckily the Throw Warlord does not have a dagger, so the kite was kept in front. This is a nice combo as well. When you put a follow medal on your Bloodseeker, you would cast the Blood Rage to the closest unit. So Jakiro would actually get 30% spell amplification, which is a lot of damage. I see there's so many items lying around. This is all wasted value. If you're not going to use it, just take it and sell it or break it for parts. Because even though you're going to use it, you might use it in a later time, but right now you need the money to build your heroes to be stronger. Your heroes are stronger, you might not lose the battle, you might not lose that much life. Yeah. So it's always better to play in the now than rather than holding it for later. One mistake you see here is the Shadow Demon. He has a Shadow Demon and a Drow Ranger, but he does not put his Shadow Demon to do a follower medal on a Drow Ranger. So that's a bit wasted.
Radiant victory.
It's not very good to invest Bloodstone on Jakiro as well. Bloodstone is normally gotten for heroes that you would want to be in the front line or probably like close to the mid line, where their damage comes from spell damage and you want them to be very survivable. Jakiro's damage comes from the double macro fire. That's it. Once he casts the 2 ultis, he's not very useful except for the ice path. Best to just buy a Sentient Kaya, keep the Bloodstone for Death Prophet or Lashrak. That's way better. As you can see here, there's a Abyssal Blade on a River. You might be thinking, why Abyssal Blade? This is actually a very good item for against this lineup because the Abyssal Blade actually stops the Enigma from casting his Black Hole or any jumpers for that matter. Previously, Abyssal Blade is actually a Blink and an Abyssal. Right now it's just a 650 range stun that pierces BKB. So Weaver will not actually jump forward. Will not actually jump forward here. He will just cast its Abyssal and stun the unit there. Another way to counter heroes with AoDs is to get a Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon's Demonic Purge actually breaks the AoDs as well as any passive abilities that you might have. So Timber Saw's reactive stack, Patch, Flash Hit, but not the strength component, just the magic resistance component, Bristleback spell. Shadow Demon can actually break all of those spells, and he also breaks AoD, so this is a very useful spell actually. But he needs to put a follower medal, upgrade this to a follower medal and put it beside the Drow Ranger. Delaying the Drow Ranger is a good choice because you do not want to be caught in the ENIGMAS AoE or Tiny's 3 toss.
Victory.
Yeah, so you can see even though Enigma has an Aeon Disc, but its Aeon Disc was broken by Shadow Demon's ulti, and then it got busted down immediately by the range carries. Oh, that's quite sad. He bought a Divine Rapier as a last resort and he dropped the Rapier and he's still not out, which means that he's down by 6k gold. So actually a Trident is not very good on Draw Ranger. If you want the status resistance, it's just better to have a Sinch and Yasha, because you are spending 5k gold just for 14 stats and the Kaya component. Draw Ranger does not deal much magic damage, so that you do not really need the Kaya component. 5k could be better off getting a Daedalus and MKB. He does not have MKB against a Troll Warlord, and no Daedalus as well. Daedalus actually works very well with Beam Claw as well. Oh yeah, please do not get Doctoring Call for Witch Doctor. Because Witch Doctor, all it needs is an Aether Lens. If you really want the extra range, just go for Aether Lens. Upgrading it by spending 3k gold is not worth it, because his spells do not really need the extra cooldown. You just need the ulti and the Voodoo Restoration, which is a passive anyway. So don't waste that 3k gold. Just get an Aeon Disc or something. These two items need to change. So far, Pirate Head has been buffed, but the issue with Pirate Head that I have is that it does not add much value and it's very expensive. So as you can see, there's 8 stacks of Pirate Head here. Each stack gives you 2 damage, as well as 1% status resistance. But the thing about status resistance is that it does not stack additively. It stacks diminishingly. What this means is that if you have a Sinch and Kaya, or Sinch and Yasha, you would already have 25% status resistance. Getting an additional 8 status resistance on top of it would actually not be additive, so it will not be 25 plus 8. It would actually be 75% times 92%. So that is the actual status resistance that you get from the additional Parrot Head. So that is not very useful actually. So I would try to avoid getting Pirate Head for now, because Moonshot actually already gives you 140 attack speed. Pirate Head gives you 250. So if you really want the attack speed, just go for 2 Moonshot instead. Yeah, the component for Pirate Contract is not that useful, and you're actually spending 3k gold for 1 slot basically, and you're getting 30 less attack speed. So unless you're actually maxing out your carries, then that's fine. But you still have so many heroes to build. So you see, the Faceless Void, the Troll, and the other heroes. So there's no point maxing your Pirate Head so early. Maybe in the 1v1 stage, then it probably makes sense, because you need the item slot. Okay, the thing about Elder Titan, there's 2 reasons why you pick Elder Titan. Firstly, because its damage is actually mixed damage. Its ulti is mixed. It's half physical and half magic, and it pierces BKB. So what this means is that it just deals straight up 50% of your opponent's life. So that's actually very useful. Second thing is that the ulti itself actually forces the opponents to be clustered up in the center when its ultimate actually breaks. Yeah. So it's something like a Darkseer vacuum, but in a straight line instead of in a circle. Yeah. So it actually clusters the opponent and it slows them down. It pierces BKB, and if you have the right level 25 talent, it actually has a very short cooldown with Octarine Core. I think it's about 9 to 12 seconds cooldown, so you can actually spam it like 5 to 7 times during a battle, and actually does a lot of damage. Not to mention its aura. Its aura actually reduces the opponent's magic resistance and physical resistance, which is very useful as well. Buffers and debuffers are very strong to increase damage output, because you do not need any items, you just need Elder Titan to stay alive to cast his Astral Spirit, and then the opponent will actually be stripped off its magic resistance and physical resistance. Elder Titan is also a very good counter for Slug, because while Slug can steal 200, 300 agility, it does not matter, because once his BKB runs out, Elder Titan's aura would actually strip Slug's entire base armor off, which means that he would have 0 armor, even though he has 500 agility. So it's a very strong hero, Elder Titan.
Radiant victory.
So now during the late game stage, it's all about initiation. You probably want to have an Faceless Void right now, because Faceless Void actually stops the Enigma in any initiation that your opponent has. Okay, so there's a very interesting play here. You can see that there is 2 Enigmas. There's a level 20 Enigma and there's a level 15 Enigma. That is a decent strategy. One with a delayer and one without. So the first Enigma will probably run in front and try to black hole them, and then if it fails, there's a backup plan here. That said, that one Enigma actually black holed out the 2 Enigmas.
Dire victory.
That's nice, that's nice, that actually works out quite well. So I think for his lineup, all he needs now is a Faceless Void, and he's good to go. You can get another Faceless Void. I think his lineup will be really strong. Yep, so that's the Faceless Void. This is a game changer late game in the 1v1 stage. Because sometimes you might want to disable the Faceless Void time dilation, because the cast time for time dilation is probably like 1 second, and 1 second is quite crucial in team fights like this. You want Faceless Void to just cast the ultimate straight up as fast as possible. So to minimize the room of error, because the AI might not be really smart, you can disable the second spell so that it does not cast it at all. And anyway, most of them has BKB, so the time dilation does not actually work very well.
Victory.
Okay, another thing to note is that Enigma would very rarely just black hole one unit. So if you want to bait the Enigma's black hole, all you need to do is just send 2 melee units. So if I was playing this game, I would probably have a Faceless Void and a Throw Warlord, both as blink daggers. I would blink them directly into the enemy's backline, and this will force their Enigmas to black hole my units. I will delayer most of my core units. I'll delayer my Draw Ranger. When I delay my Draw Ranger, Shadow Demon has a follow medal, so he would actually stay behind and wait for the Draw Ranger as well. So this will actually force them to waste their Enigma's ulti or Faceless Void's ulti on my Throw Warlord and my Faceless Void. I find it quite weird that the second place guy has 34 out of 35 foot and he's not getting another hero. If he gets a Faceless Void, I really think it'd be much better. Oh yeah, another thing to note is that Dota TV would cut me off a few minutes before the game ends, so most probably will not be able to stream the final fight. But I will show you the scoreboard at the end of the battle, at the end of the game. Yeah, I think Hakim has a really strong chance of winning. He has very good AoE control, assassin medals on Faceless Void as well. Oh man, the game ended. Okay, let's check the scoreboard. Yeah, so Hakim won. Those who place your bets on Hakim, congratulations. Okay, so I think now we'll take a short break before the second game. Thanks for watching, everyone.